Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we plunge into the heart of fascinating ideas and emerge with the nuggets of knowledge that truly matter for your life. It's really striking how the echoes of ancient wisdom can still profoundly shape our modern world, often in ways we don't even consciously realize.
Absolutely. We go about our daily lives making decisions, dealing with so much information.
Right, and underneath it all, you find these foundational principles, ideas laid down by thinkers thousands of years ago.
And they're still incredibly relevant.
Exactly. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into a really compelling document. It's titled Socrates Enduring Impact on Modern Life. And it challenges us, to see how one of history's most iconic and, let's be honest, pretty mysterious philosophers, Socrates, continues to resonate so powerfully in our everyday existence.
He's a fascinating figure, partly because he didn't actually write anything down himself.
Right. That always gets me. Everything comes through Plato, Xenophon, his Judas.
Which makes his staying power even more remarkable. Our mission today is pretty clear, right? We want to extract the most important insights, those aha moments about his influence on modern education, our ethics, our civic life.
And crucially, we want to show you, our listener, precisely how you can apply these timeless principles right now. How you can actually use them to transform your own thinking, your relationships, your whole way of living.
It is an exceptionally rich topic for a deep dive. And I think Socrates in particular has this extraordinary, profound staying power because, well, his quest was just so universal.
Universal how?
The quest for truth, for genuine self-knowledge, for a life that's not just, lived passively, but rigorously examined, intentionally.
An examined life. That phrase is key.
It really is. His relevance isn't just some historical footnote. It highlights these timeless aspects of being human. Our search for meaning, for understanding, for a moral compass in a world that often feels, well, confusing.
Adrift?
Adrift, yeah. These are fundamental principles. They transcend time, culture, everything.
That's a fantastic point. A philosophy born from dialogue, actual conversation, not just pronouncements from on high. So, okay, let's start unpacking this. Let's dive into the core ideas Socrates championed.
And then we can trace how they pop up, sometimes surprisingly, in our modern world, even if we don't label them Socratic.
Right, and maybe the most famous, the most direct contribution is what we now call the Socratic Method.
Ah, yes, the method, foundational.
At its heart, the Socratic Method is kind of a radical idea, isn't it? That real truth isn't something you can just be told, like in a lecture or from a book.
No, it has to be unearthed from within you, often by challenging everything you thought you knew, for sure.
Exactly. It's the systematic process of inquiry, a sort of cooperative argument, a dialogue between people. And it's all based on the belief that by asking and answering a precise series of questions,
You stimulate critical thinking, you draw out ideas, implications, hidden assumptions.
it's the opposite of just, didactic teaching, where the teacher lectures and the students just soak it up. Or rote memorization.
It's a complete shift. The teacher becomes more of a guide, helping others discover truth for themselves.
Leading them through a logical sequence of questions, probing deeper and deeper, until they arrive at a more robust understanding.
It's less like a debate where someone has to win, and much more like a joint intellectual expedition, a shared journey towards clarity.
I like that, joint intellectual expedition. So how does this revolutionary approach actually show up today in the 21st century? Let's start with modern education. Its role there seems pretty foundational.
Undeniable. If you've been in a university classroom, especially in the humanities or social sciences, or even some high schools.
You've probably experienced it.
Yeah.
Professors today, good ones anyway, aren't just standing up there downloading information. They often use the Socratic method constantly.
Not just to teach facts, but to actively cultivate critical thinking skills.
Okay, give us an example. Like, how would a professor use it?
Well, imagine a history professor talking about, say, the causes of a major conflict, instead of just listing the events.
They might start by asking something like, what immediate pressures were facing the leaders of this specific country right at that moment?
Precisely. And then follow up with, okay, how might a different economic situation, or maybe a different set of cultural values back then, have changed those decisions?
And then maybe push further. Given the standard historical interpretation, what are the strongest counter-arguments? What alternative explanations could historians offer, and why might those be valid too?
Exactly. It's that series of questions. It guides the students, makes them connect the dots, challenge their own first thoughts, analyze cause and effect on different levels.
It pulls them way beyond just passively taking notes. It makes them active participants in actually building the knowledge themselves.
Transforms them from receivers to constructors of understanding.
And this method, it's not just confined to the classroom, is it? Think about the legal field.
Oh, absolutely. Law is built on rigorous questioning. Lawyers use the Socratic method in cross-examination with almost surgical precision.
They're not just asking simple yes-no questions. They're using a carefully crafted series of questions designed to systematically reveal inconsistencies in what someone says.
Right, or to chip away at a witness's certainty. Or get specific admissions that slowly build their case piece by piece.
Like a lawyer might say to a witness, "You mentioned earlier you were at location A at 9:00 p.m. sharp. But we have phone records showing a call made from location B at 9:05 p.m. Can you help the jury understand that difference?"
It's not an outright accusation, not initially. It's a guided inquiry. It forces the witness, step by step, to confront a contradiction, or maybe reveal something they hadn't intended to.
And it's a cornerstone of legal education too, right? Especially in the U.S., the famous law school cold calls.
Definitely. Professors put students on the spot, hitting them with rapid-fire questions about a case. It sounds intimidating, and I suppose it can be.
Yeah, I bet.
But the goal isn't really to embarrass anyone. It's intense training. It trains future lawyers in sharp analytical thinking, in crafting persuasive arguments, and in dissecting someone else's argument, all while thinking on their feet under pressure.
Developing that mental agility, that quickness to grasp complex issues and build a solid case, sometimes instantly.
Exactly. It's indispensable legal training.
Then there's another area where it has a surprisingly deep impact. Therapy.
Yes. It's fascinating how widely Socratic questioning is used by counselors and therapists.
How does that work? They're not trying to win a case or teach history?
No, but they are trying to help individuals explore their own thoughts, their core beliefs, their ingrained emotional patterns, instead of just telling a client, here's what you should do, or here's why you feel bad, which can actually feel quite disempowering.
A therapist might ask things like, when that situation happens, why do you think you react in that particular way?
Or, what actual evidence do you have for that belief you hold so strongly about yourself? Or maybe, if you looked at this whole situation from a totally different angle, what might that look like? How might that change how you feel?
So the therapist isn't giving answers.
Not at all. They're guiding the client through self-discovery, helping them spot unhelpful thinking patterns, those cognitive distortions that often cause distress, challenging irrational beliefs, fostering real self-awareness.
Which is incredibly empowering, right? It helps people find their own solutions, their own insights, rather than just relying on someone else's advice.
Precisely. It puts the individual back in the driver's seat of their own mind.
Okay, so we see it in education, law, therapy. Why? What makes this ancient method so incredibly powerful and, well, useful across such different fields?
I think the real genius, the core psychological reason it works so well is that it fundamentally shifts the source, the locus of learning.
Shifts it from where to where?
From an external authority, like a teacher, a judge, a therapist, to an internal, self-generated discovery. You're not just passively getting information poured into you. You're actively building knowledge inside your own mind.
Brick by brick, as you said.
Exactly. And that process inherently cultivates a kind of healthy skepticism. Not cynicism, but a willingness to question assumptions, especially your own deeply held beliefs. It makes learning an active, critical engagement.
And it emphasizes dialogue over just debating, right?
Crucially, yes. The goal isn't to win or prove someone else wrong. It's to work together through shared questioning to get closer to a more nuanced, more complete truth. It builds intellectual muscle.
Helping you dissect problems, spot logical flaws, build strong arguments. It's a tool for clarity.
An indispensable tool, really, for anyone seeking deeper understanding of themselves and the world.
That intellectual muscle is so vital. And speaking of challenging norms, the next big Socratic idea was pretty radical back then, and honestly, it still challenges a lot of our modern values today.
You mean his focus on virtue over things like wealth or power?
Exactly, the pursuit of virtue. Socrates famously argued that true wealth, real prosperity, isn't found in piling up possessions or gaining social status or holding high office.
Where did he say it lies then?
He said it resides in cultivating moral excellence, in developing personal virtue. He directly challenged those basic human desires for status, for money, for fleeting pleasures.
He argued that an unvirtuous life, no matter how rich or powerful it looked on the outside, was actually a poor life, lacking true fulfillment.
Yeah, For him, the internal state of your soul, its goodness, its integrity, was far more important than any external prize. More than gold, more than political power.
He wasn't just suggesting it was nicer to be good. He was flipping the whole definition of what success even means.
Totally flipping it. So how does that play out today in our world, which is often, let's face it, hyper-materialistic?
Well, the document points to the rise of what you might call integrity movements. You see this Socratic ideal showing up in contemporary efforts that prioritize ethical conduct, transparency, accountability in different parts of society.
Like what? Give me an example.
Think about consumer movements demanding ethical sourcing. People deliberately choosing to buy from companies that treat workers fairly or use sustainable practices, even if it costs a bit more.
Or paying attention to where their coffee comes from or how their clothes were made.
Exactly.
Ah,
Or consider the growing demand for corporate social responsibility, ESG, environmental social governance factors. Businesses are increasingly expected to think about their impact beyond just the bottom line.
right, not just quarterly profits. These movements, they're basically prioritizing a collective sense of virtue over pure financial gain.
Which is a direct echo of Socrates challenging that relentless pursuit of wealth.
Okay, that makes sense. What else?
There's also a really interesting link to the modern mindfulness movement.
Mindfulness, how does that connect to ancient Greek virtue?
Well, think about what mindfulness practices emphasize. Inner peace, being present, finding well-being from within, rather than constantly seeking external validation or piling up more stuff.
Okay, I see that. It's a shift away from the external markers of success.
Precisely. When you meditate or practice mindful living, you're often intentionally stepping back from chasing the next promotion, the bigger house, the social media likes. The focus shifts inward.
Towards cultivating a rich inner life, managing your thoughts, finding contentment inside yourself.
It's about finding peace from within, not from what you own or what others think. That resonates strongly with Socrates' focus on the inner state, on virtue, as the true source of a good life.
And then, of course, there's ethical leadership. That seems like a very direct application.
Absolutely. We're seeing a growing trend globally where leaders in business, politics, social work are increasingly called upon to lead with values.
Not just focused on maximizing profit or consolidating power.
No. There's a growing demand for leaders who prioritize social responsibility, employee well-being, integrity, sustainability.
Can you think of an example?
Maybe a CEO who champions fair wages or invests heavily in green energy, even if it hits short-term profits, because they believe it's the right thing for people and the planet.
Or a political leader who sticks to principles of justice and truth even when it's unpopular or politically risky.
Those examples powerfully embody that Socratic ideal. Putting moral leadership and civic virtue ahead of pure personal or corporate gain, this shift, inspired by this ancient wisdom, helps inspire more purpose-driven careers.
And it challenges that relentless materialism, aiming for something more balanced, more ethical, more human-centered.
It's truly revolutionary when you think about the context back then and how relevant it still feels. Socrates was turning the established norms completely upside down.
Because back then, like often today, status, wealth, power, those were the ultimate signs of a successful life.
He totally inverted that. He said, true human flourishing, that Greek idea of eudaimonia, living well and doing well, comes from the state of your soul, your character, your moral fiber.
Which brings up a tough question for us now. In our consumer-driven, social media-saturated world, how hard is it really to live by this principle?
It's incredibly challenging. We're constantly bombarded with messages telling us what to buy, what to aspire to, what external things define our worth.
So choosing virtue over all that takes real discipline, a strong sense of self, clear values.
Immense discipline. But, and this is the crucial point, when individuals and even institutions do manage to live by this principle, the benefits for society are huge.
Like what?
Greater trust, more ethical businesses, a stronger social fabric, a more sustainable future, environmentally and morally. It moves us beyond just transactional relationships.
Towards more meaningful, values-based connections, contributing to long-term stability and real well-being.
Exactly. It has profound societal ripple effects.
That's a powerful thought, the ripple effect, and it is often a countercultural stance, as you said, which leads us naturally to another cornerstone of Socratic thought, maybe his most famous personal command, know thyself.
Ah, nufti se. Yes, a profound injunction.
This famous phrase linked to the oracle at Delphi, but really explored by Socrates, it's way more than just, be self-aware.
It's a call to deep, relentless introspection. A lifelong journey to understand your own character, your deepest motivations, your biases, your limits.
Not just knowing your name or your job, it's about digging into your inner world to find your true self beneath all the external stuff and surface desires.
And for Socrates, this self-awareness was the absolute foundation for wisdom, the starting point for any real philosophy, any real personal growth.
Because without truly understanding yourself, what drives you, your biases are, how can you possibly navigate the world wisely, or make good decisions, or live authentically?
You end up just reacting rather than living intentionally.
And this ancient idea, thousands of years old, is now a fundamental pillar in modern psychology. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Think about cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. Hugely popular, very effective.
How does CBT use this?
CBT directly encourages you to identify, scrutinize, and challenge your own unhelpful thought patterns and core beliefs. The therapist acts like a Socratic guide.
Asking questions like, what exactly am I thinking right now? Is it true? What evidence supports it?
What emotions am I feeling? What's triggering them? How are these thoughts and feelings affecting my behavior? It's all about self-examination.
And psychoanalysis, too, though different, also centers on deep self-exploration, right? Delving into the unconscious past experiences.
To understand present behavior. And even common psychological assessments, personality tests, career aptitude tests, they're essentially tools designed to help you understand your own traits, your strengths, your inclinations.
All echoing that ancient call, know thyself.
In various modern forms, yes.
And then you mentioned it earlier, there's the massive coaching industry. Life coaches, executive coaches.
In many ways, they're modern Socratic guides. Their main job isn't usually to give advice.
It's to help people identify their strengths, weaknesses, core values, find their purpose.
Exactly. A good coach won't tell you what your passion should be. They'll ask probing questions.
Like, what really energizes you? When do you feel most authentic? What values are non-negotiable for you? What's holding you back?
Right. Questions designed to prompt deep self-inquiry, to help the client uncover their own answers and chart a path aligned with their true self.
It's about facilitating self-discovery, helping them unlock their potential by seeing what's already there.
Empowering them through guided reflection.
And you see this know thyself idea everywhere in the self-help world too, right?
Yeah.
Books, workshops, online courses.
Absolutely. So much of that industry revolves around self-discovery, personal branding, finding your purpose. It's all rooted in that Socratic drive to understand oneself.
Whether it's through journaling, mindfulness apps, branding exercises, the goal is often clarity about who you are, what matters to you, what you want.
And the impact is huge. It boosts emotional intelligence, understanding, and managing your own emotions, and navigating others.
It fosters personal growth, pushes you beyond comfort zones, and maybe most importantly, it cultivates authenticity, living a life aligned with your convictions, not just external pressures.
It is truly fascinating how this ancient philosophical command evolved into such a huge, influential, yes, multi-billion-dollar industry today. Its enduring appeal points to a fundamental human need to understand ourselves.
But how does knowing yourself actually lead to emotional intelligence or growth? It's not just listing strengths from a book. Right?
No, not at all. It's about understanding the why behind your reactions, the roots of your beliefs, the interplay between your thoughts, emotions, and actions.
Getting under the hood, so to speak.
Exactly. And that deep self-awareness empowers you to make much better, more intentional decisions, because you're operating from clarity about your authentic values and motivations.
So when you know yourself, your choices are more aligned.
Much more aligned, which reduces internal conflict, lessens self-sabotage, and leads to actions that are more consistent, purposeful, and effective. You move from reacting to intentionally acting.
That alignment is key, living from the inside out. And speaking of alignment, especially with truth and justice, Socrates also left us a powerful and sometimes really uncomfortable legacy about civil disobedience and moral courage.
Ah, yes. His own life ended because of it.
His trial and execution are maybe the starkest example of this. He was condemned by Athens for impiety, corrupting the youth charges he saw as totally unjust.
And he had chances to escape, right? Or to back down.
Multiple clear chances. He could have fled Athens or compromised his principles, basically taken back his views to save his life, but he refused, steadfastly.
He chose to face his accusers, defend his philosophy, and accept the sentence.
Utterly true to his convictions about truth and justice, even when it meant persecution, public hatred, and death. He wouldn't compromise, wouldn't obey an unjust law if it meant betraying truth or abandoning his mission to examine life.
He literally chose integrity over survival. an unparalleled historical example of moral courage.
And that unwavering commitment, even facing death, it directly informs so many modern nonviolent resistance movements.
The document mentions Martin Luther King Jr. and Mahatma Gandhi, towering figures.
Their philosophies of nonviolent protest are deeply rooted in that Socratic idea. Stand by truth and justice, even against overwhelming opposition, even at immense personal cost.
Dr. King's nonviolent direct action, being willing to suffer, fill the jails, rather than inflict violence, all for a higher moral truth.
And Gandhi's Satyagraha truth force, that firm, peaceful insistence on truth against colonial oppression, they understood, like Socrates, that moral conviction, even when unpopular or met with force,
Can be a far more powerful transformative force than violence. The impact of those movements proves it. They reshape societies towards greater justice.
So the Socratic example teaches that moral courage isn't just nice to have, it's essential for a better society.
But it's crucial to distinguish it from mere rebellion, right?
Absolutely. Socrates' resistance wasn't impulsive or angry. It was thoughtful, reasoned, rooted in his deepest beliefs about the good life and the just society. He died for principles he believed were true, just, and essential for everyone.
Which means we can apply this today in smaller, everyday ways.
Definitely. Speaking up thoughtfully against an injustice at work. Challenging a prejudiced remark, even when it's awkward. Advocating for an unpopular but ethical decision in your community.
Finding your voice, discerning the moment, aligning actions with your sense of right and wrong, even if it's uncomfortable or carries some risk.
Becoming an agent of justice, not just a witness.
Connecting this to the bigger picture, Socrates' trial is this enduring precedent for the costs, but also the necessity of moral courage. His story resonates every time someone stands up for what's right against the odds.
Which raises that really important question for us now. How do we cultivate that kind of courage in ourselves today when public opinion can be so harsh, so quick to condemn dissent?
And maybe even more critically, how do we tell the difference between principled civil disobedience and just being destructive or contrary?
The key seems to be that word from the source material. Wisdom.
Exactly. It's not just disagreeing. It's why you disagree, what principles you're upholding, and the thoughtful, constructive way you express it. True Socratic resistance aims for truth, justice, betterment, not personal gain, ego, or just making trouble.
It involves that ethical calculation. Is this challenge truly for the greater good? Am I doing it in the most effective, ethical way?
Understanding that nuance is vital for positive change.
That difference between principled resistance and just being contrarian is so important and often lost today. Okay, so we've seen how Socrates' ideas shaped the world. Pretty amazing when you stop and think about it.
Mind-bending, really.
But what does this all mean for you, listening right now? How do we take these profound ancient ideas and actually weave them into our daily lives? This is where philosophy gets practical.
Where the rubber meets the road.
First, the document gives us really concrete advice. Practice daily self-questioning. Consciously interrogate your inner world. Turn your mind into a Socratic dialogue partner.
Ask yourself, as the source says, why do I believe what I believe? And critically, is this action I'm about to take really in line with my deepest values?
This isn't just abstract stuff. It's a daily mental workout for intentionality. How can you actually do this?
Well, you could build it into your morning routine, on your commute, walking, driving, train. Use that time for internal reflection instead of just zoning out.
Or before making a big decision, career, money, a tough conversation, take 5 minutes. Pause. Ask yourself those probing questions.
Or if you journal, make it part of that. Don't just list events. Dig into the why behind your reactions, choices, feelings. What belief is fueling that emotion? Is it serving you?
And the impact? Huge. It cultivates intentionality. You stop drifting and start consciously choosing your path based on self-awareness.
It deepens your understanding of yourself, clarifies your core values, and helps align your actions with them.
Which is crucial for living more authentically, more purposefully. Reduces internal conflict, gives you direction.
But it's important to clarify. This isn't about creating paralyzing self-doubt.
Good point. It's not about endless second-guessing.
No. It's about building stronger, more resilient, truly examined beliefs. By constantly asking why, you either reinforce your beliefs with better reasons, or you find weaknesses and can refine or even change them.
So it's an antidote to dogma, to rigidly holding beliefs without checking them.
Exactly. It promotes intellectual humility, keeps your mind agile, open. It's this ongoing internal dialogue, seeking truth within yourself, making sure your views are based on reason and reflection, not just assumptions.
Makes your mind a dynamic, living thing. Okay, that distinction between healthy questioning and crippling doubt is key. Next up, engaging in meaningful conversations.
Replacing debates with deep, respectful questioning.
The goal, as the document puts it so well, is to seek truth, not just win arguments. How do you actually do that?
Think about those conversations, family, work, friends, that often turn into battles. Instead of jumping in with your counterargument,
Try adopting genuine curiosity. Ask things like, help me understand why you feel that way, or what experiences led you to that conclusion.
or what information has most shaped your view on this? It subtly shifts the whole dynamic from confrontation to collaboration.
You can use this in tricky family talks, in workplace meetings with different agendas, even just social chats, instead of needing to be right.
Try to genuinely understand the other person's perspective, their underlying values, their experience.
And the effect on relationships. Transformative. It turns conflict into exploration.
You foster deeper understanding, not just of their view, but of the whole issue.
Yeah.
It builds empathy because you're trying to see through their eyes.
And ultimately, it builds stronger connections. People feel heard, respected, valued, leads to better collaboration, more harmony.
Which raises a critical question for today. In our world of sound bites, outrage, and polarization, how do we actually foster these meaningful dialogues?
Yeah.
I think it comes down to cultivating deep, genuine curiosity and disciplined, active listening. Really hearing what they're saying, not just planning your reply.
Being open to the idea that maybe your perspective is incomplete or even wrong.
Exactly. When both sides approach it seeking understanding over victory, you create a space where ideas can be shared constructively, assumptions challenged respectfully, and understanding can bridge divides. It's maybe the essential skill for connection in a fragmented world.
Genuine curiosity, the fuel for connection. Perfect lead-in to the third practical application, embracing lifelong learning. This comes straight from Socrates' famous line.
I know that I know nothing. Often misunderstood.
Right, it's not defeatism, it's profound intellectual humility. True wisdom starts when you recognize the limits of your own knowledge.
The more you learn, the more you realize how vast the unknown is.
So how do you put this into practice? Consciously adopt humility. Approach new information as a perpetual student, always curious.
Read widely. Seek out diverse perspectives, ideas that challenge your own views.
And reflect often. Take time to process what you learn, connect it, see what new questions arise.
Maybe set aside time daily for reading nonfiction, listening to deep dives like this, taking a course, or just pondering a new idea you heard.
And the impact. Continuous growth, personal and intellectual. It prevents stagnation, keeps you adaptable, open-minded.
You see every experience as a potential lesson. It fuels a joyful pursuit of knowledge, makes learning part of who you are.
That humility truly is the starting point for all real learning. It's the opposite of arrogance, of being intellectually rigid.
And what's fascinating, what I really want you to get, is how empowering it is to admit you don't know everything. It frees you from the pressure of always needing to be right.
Kicks the ego out of it.
Exactly. It dismantles that defensive wall of expertise, opening you up to new ideas, unknown territories. When you internalize, I know that I know nothing, you can ask fundamental questions without fear.
You can explore challenging ideas, expand your horizons in ways a know-it-all never could. It fuels a relentless, even joyous pursuit of knowledge, a foundation for intellectual vitality.
Absolutely. A key to genuine wisdom.
That's brilliant. The empowerment in admitting ignorance. Okay, fourth principle for daily life, drawing from Socrates' ultimate act. Speak truth to power, but do it with wisdom.
Not just rebellion, but principled advocacy.
Standing firm for justice, like Socrates did, but with thoughtfulness, principle, not just raw emotion or chasing popularity. How do you know when and how to speak up effectively?
It's not about being contrary just to be difficult. It's about identifying when core values are truly violated or a clear injustice is happening.
And then thinking strategically. Is direct confrontation best here, or is persuasion needed?
Right. If you see an ethical lapse at work, maybe instead of an angry outburst, you gather facts, build a reasoned case based on principles or company values, and approach the right person with a clear proposal.
Or in the community, maybe it's articulating concerns carefully, offering solutions, building alliances, rather than just venting.
It's combining conviction with a strategic, thoughtful approach. Focus on the positive outcome and the principles you're upholding.
And the impact. It cultivates personal courage. It makes you an active agent of justice in your own sphere.
Empowers you to live your values, translate beliefs into action, contributing to positive change, family, work, community, making your voice count meaningfully.
Aligning actions with your ethical responsibility. Becoming a force for good.
This is so relevant today, and it raises that critical question. How do we balance deep conviction with prudence when challenging authority, especially publicly?
That wisdom part is key.
It's the crucial difference between principled resistance, rooted in justice, and just being contrarian or destructive. Socratic wisdom means understanding consequences, choosing battles wisely, articulating truth in a way that invites understanding, not just conflict.
Ensuring your challenge is for the greater good, not just ego or grievance, approaching it ethically and effectively.
That nuanced distinction is vital.
Such a vital distinction. Okay, finally, our fifth practical application. Prioritize integrity over popularity. Truly living your values.
Not just talking the talk.
Consistently acting from your core values, your deepest convictions. Not just doing what's trendy, profitable, or gets applause. This applies everywhere. Relationships, work, leadership roles.
Think about all those daily choices where popularity or quick gain tempts you away from integrity.
Like in a relationship, maybe having that honest but difficult conversation instead of avoiding conflict for superficial peace.
Or at work, refusing to cut corners on quality, even if it means missing a deadline, because you believe in ethical standards.
Or, as a leader, making a decision that's unpopular short-term but aligns with long-term values and ethics.
It's about making choices that reflect who you truly are, even when pressure pushes you toward an easier, less principled path.
And the impact on you. Profound. That consistency builds authentic character. Deep self-respect because you know you're living true to yourself.
And crucially, it builds immense, lasting trust from others.
When people see you consistently act with integrity, stand by your word, they know where you stand.
They respect your convictions, honesty, reliability, leads to more fulfilling, authentic relationships, and fosters a sense of purpose beyond trends or approval.
It's insightful to think about the long-term payoff of integrity, especially when it feels hard or costly short-term. In a world often rewarding quick wins or charm.
Choosing integrity takes real courage, foresight, deep motivation, and connecting that to the bigger picture. A society built on individual integrity is fundamentally stronger, more trustworthy, resilient.
When individuals prioritize values, refuse to compromise principles.
Institutions become more accountable, ethical. Communities become more cohesive, supportive. It's the bedrock of a healthy, just society where trust is earned, promises kept, actions guided by a moral compass.
A legacy that builds over time for the individual and the society.
Absolutely. Both benefit immensely.
Wow, what an incredible journey today. From ancient Athens to our complex modern lives. Socrates' wisdom, thousands of years old, it really isn't just history. It's a living, breathing philosophy that impacts us constantly.
In ways both subtle and totally obvious.
We've seen his Socratic method underpinning education, law, therapy, fostering critical thinking, independence, self-discovery. His call to virtue over wealth challenges materialism and inspires ethical leadership.
His know thyself is the cornerstone of modern psychology, our drive for personal growth, authenticity.
And his courageous sacrifice for truth inspires civil disobedience and moral courage globally, proving ideas truly can change the world.
And importantly, as we explored, these aren't just abstract ideas for academics. They offer practical, actionable tools for you right now.
Living that examined life, Socrates talked about daily self-questioning, meaningful conversations, lifelong learning, wise truth-telling, prioritizing integrity.
It takes continuous effort, discipline, intention, but the rewards. Immense, transformative for your inner life and your impact on the world.
It's a conscious commitment to growth, authenticity, purpose.
Exactly, an ongoing journey.
So as we wrap up, let's bring back that iconic Socratic quote, the star guiding his whole philosophy. The unexamined life is not worth living.
So as you go about your day, make decisions, interact, navigate this information age, I'd really invite you to ponder that.
Yeah.
What might your unexamined life look like?
What opportunities for growth, understanding, connection, insight might you be missing by not pausing to question, reflect, live your values?
And conversely, what incredible potential, what fulfillment, what impact could a truly examined life unlock for you personally, your relationships, the world around you?
It's a question that, once you genuinely ask it, can set you on an amazing path of discovery.
Keep examining, keep questioning, keep living with purpose. We really hope this deep dive has given you plenty to think about and maybe, just maybe, a new lens through which to view your own life.